Have you ever walked into a room and wondered, what is it that makes a man actually stop and take notice? I'm not talking about some surface-level glance or momentary attraction. I mean the kind of things that make him pause, lean in, and genuinely feel something deeper than just a look. When a man first notices a woman, it's not just about the way she looks. It's the energy she gives off, the way she carries herself, the vibe that radiates from her before she even says a word. Confidence is one of the most magnetic qualities a person can possess. But what most people misunderstand is that it's not just about boldness or dominance. Real confidence isn't loud, it doesn't need to shout. It's that quiet sense of certainty in who you are, a presence that says, I belong here, without needing to prove it. You can see it when a woman walks into a room and doesn't instantly scan for validation. She's not checking to see who's watching her. She's not adjusting herself nervously. She's simply present. She's owning her space. A confident woman doesn't shrink herself to make others comfortable, and she doesn't inflate herself to seem more important. She understands that she doesn't need to be the most beautiful woman in the room to be captivating, because she knows that beauty is enhanced by self-respect, not perfection. A man notices when a woman stands or walks with intention. Her posture speaks before she ever opens her mouth. She looks up, not down. Her movements are deliberate, relaxed, not rushed or jittery. That kind of presence sends a powerful signal. It says she values herself. She doesn't need to perform. She knows her worth. And in a world full of people who are trying too hard to fit in or gain approval, that self-assurance is rare and irresistible. What many don't realize is that confidence isn't something you wear when you're having a good day. It's cultivated in the moments when no one is watching. It's in how you talk to yourself, how you treat your body, how you hold your boundaries even when it's uncomfortable. And when a man observes this, whether consciously or unconsciously, it communicates to him that this woman will never settle for less than she deserves, that she won't tolerate disrespect, that she's not desperate for love, she's open to it, but only if it's aligned with who she truly is. Confidence is the foundation upon which every other attractive quality is built. It allows a woman to laugh at herself, to speak up even when her voice shakes, to walk away from things that don't serve her. It's not about perfection, it's about self-trust. And the truth is, men are drawn to women who trust themselves. Because when a woman is at ease in her own skin, it invites him to be at ease too. When she's not preoccupied with what others think, she creates space for real connection, not just performance. There's something incredibly captivating about a woman whose facial expressions are alive and genuine. Before a man hears your voice or learns your story, he reads your face. The warmth of your smile, the spark in your eyes, the subtle lift of your eyebrows. All these micro expressions are powerful signals that create immediate emotional resonance. Men may not always be able to articulate this, but they instinctively respond to what your face is communicating in those first few seconds. And no, it's not about having the most symmetrical features or perfect skin. It's about the emotion you allow yourself to show. A genuine smile does something that makeup never could. It signals approachability, it invites trust, and it communicates a sense of joy that people want to be around. A woman who smiles not out of politeness, but because she's present and emotionally engaged, creates an energy that is undeniably attractive. Smiles with their WHOLE face, who isn't a FRID disappointment to S. How chna aura to be a warmth, deliverance, delight, amusement, even vulnerability. These are not just facial movements, they're emotional transparency, and that's magnetic. Facial expressions show that you're present in the moment. In a world that's constantly distracted, that presence is rare. When a man sees a woman responding to the world around her with curiosity, with laughter, with empathy, he sees someone who's not just existing, she's experiencing, and that matters more than we give it credit for. People are drawn to those who feel deeply because it hints at someone who will make them feel deeply too. That's what men respond to, not blank perfection, but emotional richness. What's often overlooked is that expressiveness is also a form of emotional intelligence. A woman who can show what she's feeling, even subtly, is often someone who can navigate emotion in herself and in others. And for a man looking for more than surface-level attraction, this is a major sign of depth. It tells him that connection with her won't be hollow, that when she smiles it means something, that when she looks at him she's really seeing him, that when she's engaged it's real, not a performance. Sometimes people hold back their expressions out of fear of being judged, fear of seeming too eager, too soft, too open. But the truth is, it's those very things, openness, playfulness, vulnerability, that make a face unforgettable. It's not about looking perfect in a photo. It's about being the kind of woman whose facial expressions light up a room, not because she's trying to impress anyone, but because she's letting herself fully be in the moment. When you laugh without holding back, when your eyes widen in surprise, when you soften with empathy, these are the things men don't just notice. They remember them because they speak to something deeper than beauty. They speak to the soul behind the face. How a woman carries herself speaks volumes before she ever says a word. There's an unspoken language in her posture, her walk, her body language that communicates confidence, self-awareness, and grace. Men are incredibly perceptive to this even if they don't realize it. They may not always be consciously analyzing it, but they're definitely picking up on it. The way she moves can signal a lot about how she sees herself and how she moves through the world, and that can be powerfully attractive. When a woman stands tall, shoulders relaxed, head held high, not in arrogance, but in quiet assurance, it creates an impression that sticks. It tells a man she's not shrinking herself to avoid attention, and she's not overcompensating to chase it either. She's simply grounded in her own body. That sense of groundedness is magnetic because it makes others feel safe, stable, and intrigued. It's not about perfection or trying to mimic someone else's way of being. It's about owning your unique rhythm and moving through space like you belong there. Think about how much can be conveyed through something as simple as a walk. A woman who walks with intention, not hurried, not hesitant, sends a signal of confidence. It doesn't matter if she's walking into a cafe or across a crowded room. If she's walking with a sense of presence, like she knows where she's going, she draws attention without needing to ask for it. That's because intentional movement is rare. Most people are either distracted or trying too hard to be noticed. But when you see someone who's not in a rush, who's at ease in her own skin, you notice. You remember. Subtle gestures also play a role. The way she uses her hands when she talks, the way she makes eye contact, the stillness she holds in moments of silence, all of these contribute to a presence that men find incredibly attractive. A woman who doesn't fidget, who doesn't shrink, who doesn't overperform, has a calming and captivating energy. She's not trying to fill space. She's simply inhabiting it fully. That kind of poise isn't something you fake. It comes from doing the inner work of knowing who you are and accepting yourself completely. Men often find themselves drawn to women who have that natural ease in their movement, not because it's flashy, but because it's real. There's something incredibly sensual about subtlety, a gentle sway, a calm stillness, a confident stride. These are the things that create an emotional and even physical reaction. It's not about being overly polished or choreographed. In fact, overperformance often pushes people away. It's authenticity in motion that attracts. A woman who moves like she's not afraid to take up space doesn't need to wear the flashiest outfit or say the loudest thing. Her very presence does the talking, and that kind of unspoken power leaves a lasting impression. Energy is one of those things you can't see, but you can absolutely feel. It's what fills the space around a person before they even speak. When a woman enters a room, it's her energy that people notice first, even before they register her features or her outfit. And for a man, that energy speaks louder than any single physical trait. It tells him what kind of experience he might have in her presence. Is she warm? Is she intense? Is she calm, playful, passionate, mysterious? Her energy shapes the entire emotional atmosphere around her. Some women bring a calming energy. They walk in and everything feels a little more peaceful. There's a steadiness about them that makes people feel safe and drawn in. Others have an electric, playful energy that feels like spontaneity and fun. Their laughter is contagious, their presence energizing. Then there are those who carry a quiet intensity, not loud, not dramatic, but deeply focused and mysterious. It's the kind of energy that makes a man want to understand what's going on behind her eyes. The key isn't to be one kind of energy. It's to be in tune with your own natural essence and lean into it unapologetically. A woman who is aligned with her energy isn't trying to be anything for anyone. She doesn't dim her light to make others comfortable, and she doesn't overextend to prove her value. She simply radiates what's true for her in the moment. That authenticity is rare, and it's exactly what catches a man's attention. He can feel when a woman is comfortable in her own vibe. That comfort becomes contagious. It invites him to relax, to be more present, to feel something deeper than just surface-level attraction. What makes energy so compelling is that it's not about performance. You can't fake real energy. You can fake a smile, you can fake interest, but you can't fake the kind of inner alignment that shows up in your vibe. When your internal state is congruent with your outer presence, people feel it. They may not be able to explain it, but they're drawn to it. That's why a woman doesn't have to be the loudest in the room to be the most noticeable. Her energy, if it's grounded, joyful, or passionately alive, will speak louder than any words could. Men are especially sensitive to energy because they're looking for more than just a physical connection. They're looking for a feeling. They may not realize it in the moment, but what hooks them isn't just how you look. It's how you make them feel. And that feeling is often determined by the energy you bring. Whether it's a sense of peace, a spark of fun, or a charge of sensuality, your energy becomes the emotional signature you leave behind. It's not something you put on, it's something you allow to flow freely when you stop trying to be someone else. A man may notice how a woman looks, but he remembers how she speaks. Not just the words she uses, but the tone of her voice, the way she expresses herself, the rhythm of her speech. These subtle cues carry far more weight than people realize. The tone of your voice is like music. It either draws someone in or pushes them away. A woman who knows how to communicate with warmth, authenticity, and presence naturally stands out. There's something incredibly magnetic about someone who speaks with intention, with emotion behind their words, and with clarity in what they want to express. The voice is deeply connected to emotion. It reflects confidence, kindness, strength, and even sensuality without trying too hard. When a woman speaks in a way that's calm but assured, soft but firm, it shows self-possession. It shows she knows herself. A high-pitched, overly apologetic, or rushed tone can signal insecurity. On the other hand, a voice that is grounded and deliberate suggests emotional maturity and self-respect. Men tune into this, consciously or not. The way a woman speaks tells him whether she values her own words, and when she does, he values them too. The content of the conversation matters, but the delivery shapes the experience. A woman who is present in her communication, who listens, pauses, laughs, reflects, asks thoughtful questions, creates connection without needing to perform. She's not trying to dominate the conversation or force her opinion, but she's also not afraid to take up space. She has a rhythm to her words that makes people lean in. Her voice becomes something they want to hear again, not because it's the loudest, but because it's real. Playfulness in tone can be especially powerful. A slight tease, a warm laugh, a lowered voice during an intimate moment. These shifts make a man feel something deeper. It creates a sense of intimacy, even in simple conversations. The ability to play with vocal energy without losing authenticity is a rare skill. It suggests comfort with who you are, as well as a deep emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is one of the most underrated but powerful sources of attraction. A woman who knows how to communicate well is not just attractive in the moment she lingers in a man's mind. Her words echo, her tone replays, her expressions stay with him long after the conversation ends. Because communication is not just a transfer of information, it's the transmission of emotion. It's how people feel seen, heard, and understood. And when a woman speaks from a place of clarity, truth, and presence, she becomes unforgettable. It's not about talking more, it's about saying less but meaning more. That's the kind of voice that captivates. That's the kind of communication that creates depth. It's the sound of someone who knows herself and invites others to know her too. Authenticity is one of the most disarming and attractive qualities a woman can have. In a world where so many people are performing, curating, filtering, and editing who they are for the sake of approval, a woman who shows up as herself is a breath of fresh air. She's not trying to fit into someone else's mold of what's desirable. She's not adjusting her personality to match a trend or shrinking herself to be more palatable. She's rooted in who she is, flaws and all, and she's not afraid for people to see it. That kind of raw, unapologetic realness is rare, and it's magnetic. Men are naturally drawn to authenticity, even if they don't know how to label it. It creates a sense of safety. There's no guessing, no pretending, no mind games. A woman who is authentic says what she means and means what she says. She's not playing a role to manipulate attention. She doesn't need to. Her value isn't based on a performance. It's based on truth. And when a man sees that truth, he doesn't just feel attracted. He feels respect. Because it takes courage to be that honest in a world that constantly pressures people to be something else. Authenticity doesn't mean being perfect. It actually means being okay with imperfection. It's the woman who laughs when she's nervous, who admits when she's unsure, who owns her quirks instead of hiding them. These are the things that make her relatable. These are the things that create emotional intimacy. A man may be impressed by polished perfection for a moment, but it's vulnerability and truth that make him feel connected. And connection is what keeps him coming back. What's powerful about authenticity is that it doesn't chase approval, it creates it naturally. When a woman is true to herself, she doesn't need everyone to like her. She's not bending or shifting based on who's in front of her. That kind of inner alignment is incredibly attractive. It says, "This is who I am, and I'm not here to convince you of my worth." That subtle self-possession creates gravity. It draws people in because it radiates a kind of emotional freedom most people crave but don't yet have. Men notice when a woman isn't trying too hard. They notice when her laugh is real, when her silence is intentional, when her opinions aren't rehearsed. They notice when she's not trying to impress, because, ironically, that's what makes her so impressive. There's an ease that comes with authenticity. A woman who's not constantly thinking about how she's being perceived has more room to connect, to enjoy, to be fully present. And presence is what makes someone unforgettable. It's not about being flawless. It's about being real in a way that feels grounded and unshakable. That kind of energy doesn't just attract attention. It earns admiration. And admiration builds something far stronger than attraction alone.